What's up guys, Tyler here. This is going to be a really quick video for you just to give you a quick little rundown about the Facebook Pixel, what it is, why it's beneficial for you and why basically everyone can be using it, because it seems as though some people know it exists, a lot of people don't know it exists, and even those that do know it exists don't use it because they don't understand the true power. Now, the Facebook Pixel, let me give you a quick rundown before we really dive in about how to use it. So the Facebook Pixel itself is a short piece of code that Facebook gives you when you advertise to put onto your website. Hell, you don't even need to be advertising. This little piece of code will read every single customer that visits your website. Facebook is going to be able to track for you. To put it in the simplest form, it's like another analytics tool outside of Google, but what it does is a little bit more than that. See, when someone lands on your website and they've got their Facebook page open in the background, at least logged in somewhere, and they visit that site, they don't have to have Facebook open on the page. They just have to be logged into Facebook so it can recognize that this person is logged in on Facebook somewhere. And what it does is it actually matches that piece of that one figure of traffic, that person that visits, back to that Facebook page based on the code. It matches it up, right? So what this allows you to do, if it's organic traffic, it might be referrals, it could be Google traffic. So you're paying per click to get people in from Google. You know, once you get that person in, if they don't buy on the day, they're gone. You won't see them again. The only other way that you can possibly get that traffic back is by using Google retargeting, which also costs a fortune, right? So where's another place that you can hit them? Where's their attention? Their attention is on Facebook. So by combining these two powerhouses, and why it's so important to have the Pixel on your page, whether you're using the tool or not, at least build the audiences up of people who visit your pages, so when you do decide to market, you can. You don't have to build it from scratch. So what I'm going to be able to show you today is how to install the Pixel onto your page and just why it's going to be so beneficial for any business whatsoever. So once again, this is the Pixel that can actually track who your customers are, what they look like, and how you can build brand new audiences out of those that are going to look just like people who are paying customers or subscribing leads to your business and to your website. So let's dive in and have a quick look. So what you're looking at now in this interface, this is the Business Facebook Manager backend, right? So there's two different ways that you can access this. As you can see up in my tab here, you can see that it's business.facebook.com. Now, what you can actually do is simply go facebook.com/ads/manager, which also works. The business.facebook.com backend is more for advertisers that use multiple accounts. If you're simply running ads for just your own business from your own page, easy enough, you can stick with the facebook.com/ads/manager. For my sake, I'm going to stick with the business manager just because that's all I really navigate through. It looks exactly the same. It's the exact same thing. It just really depends on what you're going to be using it for. If you're an agency, you should already know this anyway. Now, the first thing you want to do, your page is going to look a little bit like this, a little bit similar, just encouraging you to run your first ad. As you can see, I've created a sample account here, once again, for the sake of the demo. So the first thing you want to be able to do to find your code is you need to click on the navigation bar to your top left here. Now, yours may look like this, it may look different. Obviously, these are your frequently used, and I use these quite a bit. So what you want to do is come down to all tools, you'll find pixels here. So the first thing that you want to do, now yours is going to look a little bit different. It's going to ask you to create your pixel. I've already created this pixel preemptively, so I need you to actually go through the motions yourself, where it's going to give you a piece of code. Actually, one sec. Alright guys, so what I've done is I've gone through and created a brand new account. This is really just to be able to give you the full demonstration, exactly what it looks like with a brand new account, which is exactly what yours is going to look like. So once again, you come over to the navigation bar, head over to where it says pixels, and what you want to do is you want to create your pixel. Now this is your own dedicated pixel, right? Nobody else has this one. Do not share it with people. This is your own dedicated Facebook pixel. So as you can see, tracking, optimization, and audience targeting. So measure real-world outcomes from your Facebook ads, deliver your ads to the right people to get more conversions you want, build audience from people who converted or similar audiences to reach new people. So let me give you an example really quickly the way the Facebook pixel works. So let's, for instance, say that you're an e-commerce store. So you're going to have your pixel on your page, okay? From that page, then there's going to be a select few customers that are going to purchase. Obviously, it'd be great to say thousands, if not tens and hundreds of thousands over time, sure. But immediately, let's say that you get 100 people a day that are purchasing. Fantastic. Now, out of those 100 people every single day, they're all going to have a certain commonality. So let's say that it's a surfing store, right? So you're selling surfboards and all those kind of things. Everyone is going to have some form of interest in surfboards, they're not going to accidentally be on your store, and they're not going to accidentally buy a surfboard if they love gardening. It's just not going to happen unless they share both interests. But what's going to happen is the Facebook pixel knows who those customers are, because obviously they're logged into Facebook in the back end, and they're navigating their way through the page right through to the purchase. So when they go to purchase, there's an event that fires. So there's event codes, and we'll get into that later too. But the event is going to fire that they've purchased. So then Facebook is going to put them into the category as a buyer of from your site. Now, everybody that purchases then goes into this category Facebook creates that's going to tell you that they are a buyer and they are interested in your products, and it's going to start learning what are the same commonalities that all of your buyers all have in common on Facebook. Now, the way they do this is every single time that you like a page has certain categories that it fits into. Then they become your interest. So if you ever have heard about interest targeting, that's how you get categorized for that, because based on the pages that you like, on the videos that you watch, and the people that you comment and interact with. Okay, it's just a super machine basically that works in your favor as an advertiser, and it just learns everything about you that there is to know, especially about your customers. So to go a bit further in this, every time that they purchase, it's going to start learning. So what's going to happen when you're promoting a cold ad to this audience and you want people to come through and purchase? Well, Facebook now knows what the ideal buyer looks like, what interests they have. So when you're targeting your ads as a purchase conversion, which we'll get into as well, but when you're targeting for a purchase conversion as a targeted ad, which you can do, right? What this is then going to do is Facebook's going to say these people want to find people who are likely to purchase to a new audience of say 1 million people or 100,000 people. We know based on the data that we've gotten that your buyers look like these 100 people a day that are coming through. They all have this certain thing in common. So the ideal buyers are going to share those same interests too. We're going to send your message to those people first, and then we're going to start filtering back as much as we have to keep finding new customers. But that's when you keep building new audiences, known as lookalike audiences, which I'm also going to get into a little bit later. So first things first, let's get the pixel on the page, and then we'll go into a bit more depth of it. So we're going to create the pixel. So as you can see, pixel name here, demo's pixel, it's a demo. This can really be anything. This can be your website, this can be your name, whatever you want it to do, just name it. Really does jack shit. It's really just a placeholder there just to know what it is. So you go next. Now this is where you need to pay attention. So it's going to create your pixel. You don't need to pay attention to this. What you need to pay attention to is actually the code that you get. Okay, so copy and paste the code because you do need the code. Now, what I would recommend is pulling out a pen and paper and writing down where it's blue. If you can see these blue numbers here, 1840569, blah, 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 blah. These are the numbers that you need to be able to write down to ensure that this is your Facebook pixel code, right? This is your pixel ID. Now, where this becomes beneficial is if you're using WordPress, there's a plugin you can get called Pixel My Site or Pixel Your Site, which actually allows you to install the Facebook pixel on every single page, which is what you need to do, all through your pixel ID. So write down these numbers. If you're operating on a Shopify store, you can do the same thing. You go into your settings, you can install it through a Facebook pixel ID when it asks for it. Now, if you're running through a Wix or Squarespace, I'm not 100% sure. If you are running on a Wix and Squarespace, I would recommend upgrading at some point. It's not you don't need to do it straight away, but it's obviously just the easiest way to keep everything going. If you are operating on a Wix and Squarespace, however, just Google it. Your answers are going to be there. It should be really, really simple. Worst case scenario is you just install this whole piece of code, you copy it into the header of your website. Now, what I'm going to do is exactly show you how to install it into the header of your website. I'm going to use ClickFunnels as an example. I think it's a great platform. If you are using ClickFunnels, it'll be a good way for you to learn how to actually install it yourself too. So first things first, let's head over to ClickFunnels. Once again, I've just pulled a little demo up here, a template. So you go into edit the page. All right, so this is the new editor for ClickFunnels. If you are familiar, great. If you aren't familiar, it's recently been updated. So this is how obviously this looks. What you need to do is come over to the settings, over to where it says tracking code. You want to make sure it's in the header. You can install it in the footer. However, it's never recommended, and it's really going against what Facebook recommends, and you're only going to make it more difficult for yourself. So don't be an idiot. Head over to the header code, install it there. As you can see, I copied the code all there. Do not touch the code. It's as simple as that. Leave it as it is. Facebook has created it the way it has. Leave it, right? So close it, save it, be done with it. Moving on. Right. Now, there is an extension that you can actually get to make sure the Pixel code is installed on your website perfectly. I would recommend it to anyone who plans on using the Pixel on their website, whether you plan on running thousands of different ads or simply just one retargeting ad. It's a great way to know if it is working efficiently, because if it isn't working properly, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time and it's a waste of money, and you get false data. So as you can see over here, Facebook Pixel Helper, that is the actual extension, what it's called. So go look for it in Google Extension. If you're not using Google Chrome, you're missing out. As you can see, it's registering as a page view. So now every single person that's going to be visiting this page, if this was my website, is now going to be tracked as a page view. So anyone now that visits this page and has Facebook open in any form, it doesn't have to be an open tab, doesn't have to be an open page, but has to have Facebook. So they just go back onto Facebook and they're already signed in. They're now going to be entering my list as a page viewer for this, and I can now retarget them with a page viewing ad, or the fact that they visited my website, they now go into a list. So no longer do you need people to opt into your list over here to be able to then resend them a message. You just, for the sake that they visited your page, you can now target them. So if this is a website, let's say you sell tires, right? You might be spending a lot of money on Google at the moment to either rank #1 on SEO, or you might be looking to be #1 through AdWords, or doing both, right? So all this traffic's coming through, but you've got no way to get a hold of them on Facebook unless they give you their email address, and then you create a custom list on Facebook, which is going a bit technical, and I'm going to assume that if you don't have the Facebook Pixel on, you're not going to be doing that form of an effort. So this is the simplest way, without having to get people to opt in, to actually send targeted messages to these people. So as you can see, the Pixel's now on. That's the first step. Now, next step, let me show you. So now we exit out of that. You want to go onto the next page. Now we're going to move into the event code. So this is where Facebook starts to learn different events that you want to have happen on your website. It starts to learn who those people are that are essentially converting on your website. So let me explain. So we're going to go in here, and what we're going to do is install an event code called a lead. So this is where they've opted into your list. You put it on the thank you page, because this is the only way Facebook will know that they've actually become a lead, is if they go through a thank you page, so they've submitted their details. If you put it on the opt-in page, they're not a lead yet. They're only a lead once they've opted in, which means you have to put it on the page once they've opted in. Simple enough, but a lot of people get that wrong. So you need to make sure that, once again, you come back up, add the code into the header. Simple as that. Right? Now, this isn't finished. What we now need to do is come back to our Facebook Ads Manager, where it asks us to install an event code. Now, you can do this at any time. You don't have to do it immediately, so don't stress. If you can just get the base code in, that's perfectly fine. It's going to be enough to at least measure all the different traffic. If you want to go a bit more technical, installing event codes is where it's going to work. You can really start to trace when people reach thank you pages, those different kind of things. What you want to do is come down for a lead. They're not purchasing, they're not adding payment info, they're just converting into a lead. They're giving us their details. So once again, you copy the short piece of code, come over to settings. Now, there is a new way to do this. It used to be that you could just put it really directly underneath the page view. You cannot do that anymore. What you need to actually do is go past where it says script. Okay, where it closes the script, this part here. So on line 10, just pay attention to that, okay? You need to do it below it now. Facebook updated the code, no clue why, it just makes it a little bit more complicated, but nonetheless, it still operates just fine. So I've entered in the lead code now, so anyone that reaches this page, I know that they've given me their details. This is gonna tell Facebook now that there's a certain kind of person that converts into leads that has a certain kind of interest, and all of the people that will convert for me is, for these leads are going to have a certain thing in interest. So as an example, I might be a vet, and I'm saying, the top 5 remedies, for when your dog's sick that you can do at home. Something as simple as that, a little bit of a lead magnet, those different kind of things to get people to opt in. Now, we know that they're all going to have certain kind of interest, especially if it's about to do with their dog. Facebook will learn that. You're going to get these leads in, and then you're going to be able to send out a colder message to a cold audience and know that they've got similarities to the people that are obviously opting into your list now. That's a little bit about the way Facebook Pixel works. It really works in your favor. Now, what you're going to see here is I've got 2 things light up on my Facebook Pixel helper. So as you can see, page view and lead. So you know that they're converting to a lead. It's all working perfectly, exactly how it should. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is really quickly jump back over to the Ads Manager, where we're going to run through a little bit about how to build custom conversions and really how you can really dive in deep with the way the pixel can work in your best interest. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to head back to the Facebook Pixel Manager. What you're going to find is just refresh this page. And what you're going to find is your pixel page will be all set up, providing that you've done your pixel correctly. So it's going to have your pixel ID over here, and it's also going to tell you how many times the pixel has fired. So as you can see here, it's actually going to tell you as well how many page views and how many leads you've gotten. This isn't the best way to actually find what events have been triggered. This is where you're going to have to set up custom conversions. So this is what we're going to go into now, is exactly what it is and why it's important, and just how you can really benefit from it most. So if we go, but first of all, how about we create some audiences so we can really put the pixel to work? Because once again, like I said, the main benefit of what the pixel can do, not just create new audiences for yourself, but create pre-existing audiences, basically track leads without people having to opt in. So the way that you do this is one of two ways. You either click over to the left-hand side here where it says create audience, or easiest way is you come over here, all tools, up to audiences there, you click on audiences and away you go. So once we're here, we need to create a new audience, right? So you can be specific about what this audience is. So let me show you what it looks like. So you can create a custom audience, a lookalike audience, or a saved audience. To start with, what we want to start with is a custom audience. So if you give me 1 second. All right, we're going to head over to create custom audience. This is where it becomes really, really powerful. So you can base it on engagement on Facebook. So they might be liking your page, commenting on your page, sharing your posts, watching your videos, anything that involves engagement on your Facebook page. These people will then become a category for you, a list that you can build an audience. So when you hear audience, think list. Like an email list, it's the exact same thing, except it's going to be on Facebook that you can send these messages, and they don't need to subscribe. Now, as you can see up the top here, you can choose a customer file, so you can upload a CSV or import it straight from MailChimp. We're not going to go with that at the moment, but if you do have a customer email list, great. There's a lot of powerful benefit to that. You can send tailored messages just to your pre-existing customers as an upsell. So you can create upsell sequences there. So, if they've bought a free plus shipping item, but they haven't bought your $30 product, you can send your new $30 product to them, say, hey, have you looked at this? Or, hey, thanks for shopping, have you looked at this? So the biggest thing I want you guys to be able to take away from this is creating tailored messages based on ads because of the Facebook pixel. Now, you don't have to create an ad straight away. You can just let an audience build up, and then when you want to run ads, at least you've got an audience there. So we're building these audiences now so you actually know that they exist, so you can market to them immediately, right? So what we need to do is go over to website traffic. What this is going to do, anyone who visits your website. Now, basically, this is just going to be the simplest form. What this is going to be able to tell us is anyone who's visited your website will go into this category. They might visit the contact page. They might visit the About Us page. They might visit the Who We Are. They might visit the catalog. They might visit lead magnets or whatever else that you've got on your page, your blog, you name it, you've got it, right? This is just any single page they visited at all. They've landed on through Google, through referral, through whatever, through Facebook links, anything, they go into this category. Now, this is a really good one to have as a broad audience. Really good way to just start messaging, hey, you visit our site. You can send them back to a more tailored, targeted area. So it might be to a blog, from a blog to a contact page or an offer. You might send them straight to a product offering, depending on your industry, those kind of things, or straight to a contact page. You might even send them to a lead magnet. So anyone that's visited your website that you're not actually doing any cold marketing to, yet somehow they've managed to make it to your website, they're there for a reason. So anyone who visits your website, you might send them to a landing page that says, hey, get the top 10 tips on how to help your dog lose weight if you're something about dog health, right? Something that's relevant to your industry that they would want based on visiting your website, okay? So let's just, for instance, just say demo audience, right? You can name it once again, whatever you want, means jack shit. So first of all, anyone who visits your website, you can backtrack it right up to about 180 days. If you are, because the pixel's new, it's not really going to matter. If you had the pixel on, you're only just creating the audience now, and you've had your pixel on for 180 days, or let's say a year, you would get 180 days worth of visitors backtrack to, but only if the pixel was already on your site, but it wasn't, so it really means nothing to you now. Put 180, it allows your audience to be as large as possible, and you can send your message to as many people as possible. So the bigger, the better, more times than not. So you create that audience. Thank you for creating a custom audience. So you've got that. Now, the next thing you want to be able to do, if we go back into custom audiences, so we want to create more audiences here. once again, this is going to get become a bit more specific. So if you look at some of the options, and this is really, really important to pay attention to. So people who visit specific web pages. So if someone visits your blog, let's say that your blog has a specific industry, so there's a subcategory. So once again, let's just say that you're a gardener and you want to teach people about certain roses. So you have a subcategory on your blog. So it might be blog/gardening/roses. What you can do is people who visit specific web pages. So you can be johnsblog.com/blog/roses. So, and then obviously when you'd have roses, you'd then obviously be able to how to cut roses or whatever, right? Something about your roses. But the thing is, if all the subcategories tick the box of having at least roses in it, they fit into that category. So anyone that visits any of the blogs regarding the roses or whatever industry, once again, the industry is irrelevant, just visits the blog specific to a category, then you start to learn about what your customer was looking at. Why this is so important is creating tailored messages. The more specific your message can be to the person who visited your website, the better the chance of them converting, because it feels like you're speaking directly to them. You're not just sending them another message. So for instance, let's say someone was looking at what I offer in terms of social media marketing, right? They visited my blog about this, for instance, how to utilize the Facebook pixel. Simply done. All I would then do is create they would go and visit the blog, Facebook audience. I'd have different banner ads popping up on my site saying, hey, get this lead magnet about the fastest way to grow your business with Facebook, something like that, give them some valuable offer. But then what I would also do, based on the fact that I know that they checked out the power of the pixel, I'd then retarget them either a video or another offer that says, did you know about this, about the power of the pixel? Have you ever wondered about how Facebook could work for your business? Book in a free one-on-one strategy session. We'll actually create a mind map, a blueprint for your business dedicated that, we'll give you your social marketing blueprint, basically, where you can go and action it yourself. Something along those lines. It's retargeting. I know that they're interested in Facebook. They've read it. They were interested. They wanted to know a little bit more. So I know that my message can be relevant to the fact that they want to grow their business on social media marketing or on social media, right? These are different things that I'll be able to, send to them essentially. So anyway, that's a little bit about people who visit specific web pages. So this one becomes really cool. So visit specific web pages, but not others. Now, this video is going quite a while, so I do really want to try and wrap this up for you guys the best I can. So I'm going to be speaking really, really quickly from here on out. So what you can see as here, visit specific web pages, but not others. This is, for instance, if somebody visits a contact page but doesn't go through to your thank you page, they're not a lead. This is just one way that you can really filter them through. Or if you've got different categories within your blog, so if your blog has something about social media marketing and also something about websites, but they've visited social media marketing but not websites, it's a way that you can qualify them to say, hey, you've checked out social media marketing. Did you know about this about your website? Or your social media marketing is going to be pointless unless you have this on your website. And so you encourage them to come back to this form of the blog to really just establish yourself as that authority more, those kind of things, right? So this is all, once again, this is all based on pixel activity. And this is when Facebook starts to learn who are these people that are coming through, what do they have in common, what are the similarities, and it's just learning about your ideal customer and the different profiles that these people have and different pages that they like. Now, this is where it becomes really, really fun. Lookalike audiences. So what this does, these lookalike audiences, the source, you can choose from all different kinds of countries, right? So you've got Australia, Florida, everything else. Now, this is where it becomes really, really fun. So this is where we're going to create lookalike audiences. So your source, this is where, as you can see here, select an existing audience to model your lookalike audience on. This could be a customer list, custom audience, pixel, or people who like your page. So this can be all different kind of pages. This can be all different kind of customer lists. This can be people who have just bought. Now, if you're in e-commerce, I beg you, put your buyers list on here, create a lookalike audience, and market the shit out of it. I've marketed for a client in the past that was on e-commerce, so it's a very unique product, something that would be probably a little bit difficult to send a cold audience to initially without establishing yourself first. Send out a message, a direct response, just buy now, buy now, buy now, to a completely cold audience, but they were lookalike. We were getting about a 15 times ROI for her on her products. So that's just a little bit about the possibility of creating a lookalike audience. You select the country. Now, you only select the country that you want to market for. So if you are typing in Australia, but you're going to be marketing people to the US, you don't type in Australia. It doesn't make sense, right? You would type in people to the USA, right? United States here. So you create your audience. As you can see, now this 1% is as targeted as possible. So from that audience, the things that they all have in common, if you go right up to 10%, it's 10% of the total population of the country on Facebook. So as you can see, there's probably, it seems as though there's 200 million people on Facebook in the US alone. And so 10% of that is 20.8 million. Now, the thing is, out of that 20.8 million, they're not going to be as targeted. They're not going to be as interested in what it is that you actually have to offer. I would say start at 1%, creating this new lookalike audience, and then you can still filter down that audience anyway in terms of different interests and stuff, but that's not relevant to this video. But so those lookalike audiences can only be created from traffic you've created from your pixel. So if someone has become a lead, someone has visited your thank you page because of a lead, someone has visited anything else, so you've created these audiences based out of that, right? So let's say website traffic, custom combination now. So as you can see, a URL or event. So now you can now create audiences out of people who have visited a page, become a lead, or purchase. So this is actually event specific. This is really, really fun. So when it comes down to it, creating a custom audience, website traffic, custom combination down here, URL down to event, choose the event. So let's say everybody that's become a lead. Now everybody that's, get rid of that. And you can exclude people. So anyone that's become a lead but hasn't become a purchase. So let's say you want to find people that have opted into some kind of mail list, but they've never actually bought from you. So they don't fit into, obviously we don't have the event tracking set up for this one, but let's say if we had a purchase pixel, they wouldn't fit the purchase combination, right? So that's then what you would do. At the very least, you'd just be like, they haven't visited a, thank you page or something like that. Something as simple as that. That's really where you can start becoming much more specific. Look, guys, what I'm going to have to do is wrap this video up pretty quickly. What I really wanted to do is just give you guys the real raw foundations of what it takes to set up the Facebook pixel. Once again, it's super, 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 super easy to do. At the very least, let's say you don't want to advertise, you don't want to do anything. Simple takeaways from this: set up your Facebook pixel. Create audiences. You don't need to advertise to these people. Just create the audiences so they exist. Make it so the audience lasts for 180 days. Do it for website views. Do it for people that land on your thank you page, if you do have one. If not, at the very least on your contact page. So you know people who have visited your contact page. You know how many people there are. So that when you choose to do advertising, should you choose to, you know the kind of people that go through and visit your thank you page. But at least this way you can track those people. You do not need to advertise, but you do need to know where these people exist on Facebook. So should you ever want to create retargeting, you can. Now, this is only skimming the surface of what the pixel can really do. There's so much more, but this video is already gone for nearly 30 minutes. I can't make it go for much longer. I wanted to keep this to 10 minutes, but there's just too much to talk about and too much to go into. So I do really hope that you guys have taken a lot of value out of this. This really is just to give you guys the raw foundations. If you do have any more questions, by all means, shoot me a message. I'm not going to charge you for asking me questions. I'm going to help you set it up if you need to, those kind of things. Just send me a message if you've got any questions. I hope this was as detailed as it needed to be. And look, like I said, if you do have any questions, shoot them through, but best of luck with your Facebook advertising from here on out.